What's good, y'all? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? It's your boy Danli Divine, and I am in here today because something ended up crossing my mind. It was a topic that just randomly popped in my head. Someone was like, "Yo, you need to hit this." So I said, "Fuck it, I'ma hit it." So I'ma hit it. Trauma dumping. So let's talk about trauma dumping some today. All right. Now, by the end of this video, my goal is to keep it real short, by the end of this video, you should understand what trauma dumping is. I'm gonna make sure that you know how it affects others. I'm gonna make sure that you understand how to recognize it in ourselves and in others, as well as how to heal through healthier communication. So relax your mind. It's divine time. So first of all, I gotta say thank you to everybody who has subscribed on the YouTube. Much love and appreciated. Respect, respect. Big whole heaps to y'all. Y'all, whether y'all were here or not, I would still be doing what I'm doing, but y'all just make it so much easier to do what it is that I'm doing. Throughout my whole life, I've always been told that nobody cares about what I have to say or the things that I've been through and all that. And I was like, you know what? If the enemy keeps on attacking my voice, then obviously my voice is what I'm supposed to be using. The more that you tune in on this show, because I'm doing so much more than just a podcast. As you tune in on this show, this educational, informative show, you're gonna learn a lot, and you'll learn a lot about me as well. But today we're here because of trauma dumping. We all carry emotional wounds, but when does sharing become oversharing? So today we're gonna dive into trauma dumping. Y'all ready? We're gonna hit the topics of recognizing it, setting boundaries, and healing through mutual respect. So I ain't gonna hold y'all too long, all right? Let's go ahead and hop on to the first one, which is what is trauma dumping? Now, I would love to hear your definitions of trauma dumping down below in the comments. Or even, shoot, you can even type it up because it'll end up popping up on here. If you catch it live on the Twitch, on the Kick, on the Instagram, any of that. So I would definitely love to see what all y'all saying there. Which reminds me, I gotta throw the Instagram up down here just because of the fact that I don't know, Instagram's weird. Y'all weird on there. Y'all like to be typing stuff like at the end of everything and expect somebody to come back and double back to it. Anywho, getting sidetracked. So what is trauma dumping? Trauma dumping is ultimately like unsolicited, unfiltered emotional venting. You ever had like a situation where a person comes up to you and just starts telling you all the things that's going on in their life? Oh, my boyfriend, he always would tell me that I was nothing or I wasn't going to be shit, or my girlfriend would, she made me feel like I was only being used for sex or I was only just there to pay bills. And it's always like almost as if they're telling you things to get you to feel bad for them, or either they're just dumping things on you because of the fact that you're there. Now, I'm a healer. The type of individual I am, people always come up to me and just start telling me random things going on in their life. And that's one of the reasons why I had to get out of the customer service, because I got enough shit going on in my life. I don't need to be sitting here getting drains from you coming over and pulling from me to make yourself feel better. And I mean, granted, a lot of people who are like trauma dump, it's subconscious. They don't always know that they're doing it. But the thing that gets me the most is they're often without regard for like anybody who's listening. They're not paying attention to like the body language and the subtle cues of, oh shit, I don't want to hear this, or is this dude done, things like that. So they really have no regard for the listener's capacity of what they can, can't, and will not take. So in all honesty, when it comes down to it, trauma dumping, like putting it into contrast, trauma dumping is the exact opposite of emotionally sharing. Trauma dumping is where you just come over, you just word vomit everything that's been going on in your life. And emotionally sharing is along the lines of, like healthy vulnerability and or emotional sharing is more along the lines of you have a issue that is bothering you and you speak about that issue. The trauma dumping would be individuals coming and just laying it all out on you. So, for example, dumping on a friend during a casual meetup versus sharing in a safe, mutual setting. If y'all, let's say you were going out to like a little friends get together, for me, I love watching the fights. I like fighting as well in the ring. I'm not gonna just go out and start fights out in public. That's not me. I'm not going to jail right now. But I'm like, if we were to go to like Buffalo Wild Wings or something, we're watching like the UFC fights, and then my homeboy who's with me just starts telling me about all that he's going through, how his girlfriend just left him, and with it, he just lost his job, and he just got a DUI and all this, and I'm sitting here just like, nigga, what? God damn, like there's a time and place for it all. But it's like, yo, you didn't ask me if you can vent. You didn't say anything to me. You just kind of left it all out on the table. Now, I mean, if we're going to take this and look at it as something healthy, it'll be more along the lines of y'all same setting, same setting. And then my boy looks at me. He's like, man, I'm having a rough time. I'm like, yo, what's going on? And then he tells you about how his girl just left him. And he really just needs someone to help him get through, or he just really just he's having difficulties making it through or keeping his mind right because his girl left and whoop de woo. That right there is manageable. That is sharing in a safe mutual setting. And with that, I can speak to you on that. Oftentimes when someone is trauma dumping, it's more one-sided. It's usually them saying all the stuff that's going on with them and the other person kind of being forced to just listen. The other person just wants to get it out. Just like with a dump truck, they're dumping. They're dumping, and a lot of times they'll overwhelm a lot of other people. So, I mean, you have individuals who will also do trauma dumping in like social media, in group chats, which I know of some people who are like, I don't like group chats anymore because of the fact that there's a lot of drama and it's very emotionally charged. And there's a lot of social media posts and even TikToks where it's really just trauma dumping. Social media has turned into a big outlet for trauma dumping. You have to be careful on that. I mean, a lot of shows that I see too, it's just drama and trauma dumping. It's drama mixed with trauma dumping. So, I mean, that's going to fall into later on how to protect yourself. But next thing I want to talk about is how do you recognize it? So, recognizing it in ourselves and others. This is something that it took me a long time to realize this, but unfortunately, I had to go through it. Now, I wish that others had informed me about these things in the past so that way I didn't have to go through it as many times as I did go through it. But it is what it is. I'm here now. I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But signs you might be trauma dumping for if you are the one that's doing it. You ready? Feeling the urge to overshare too quickly or with strangers. Remember how I said earlier where when I was doing customer service, people would just come up to me and just blah, and I'm just like, yes. So if you are feeling the urge to overshare too quickly or with strangers, chances are you're probably trauma dumping, or you have the need to trauma dump. In other words, don't fucking do it. Not checking in with others before sharing heavy topics. If you don't ask the person like, "Hey, I'm going through some stuff. Like, you mind if I let it go and I just need someone to listen." You could possibly be overstepping their boundaries. You can be putting them in a situation that they don't want to be in. Okay? It's only right, and this is what I was talking about earlier with the mutual setting, to where the other person has a heads up of what is going on, rather than you just just boom, just lucky shotting them. All right? You don't want to just come up to somebody and just start speaking and just lay it all out there on them. You need to allow the person to, well, first of all, you need to respect the person's boundaries. You might not know what their boundaries are. You don't know what they have gone through. It's always polite to ask first. You want to ask first. All right? You need to ask the individual. Yo, blessings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So it's always important to ask. Now, repeating the same stories without moving toward healing. I spoke about this when it came down to the 6 types of energy vampires. When you have someone who constantly keeps coming to you, telling you the same story, whether it's with different people or a different setting, but yet the story is the same. They're not moving towards healing. They're moving towards looking for sympathy. That's all they're trying to do. They want somebody to feel sorry for them. They want somebody to feel bad for them. They want that energy. All right? So those are 3 ways that you can recognize when you might be trauma dumping. By if you keep repeating the same stories. Man, I've been through stuff in my life and I've reached a point where I'm just like, look, if somebody wants to know about it, I'll ask them, be like, I've gone through something like that. Do you want to hear my story? I'm not going to just sit here and come straight out with it, though. Because in all honesty, very few people give a fuck. Like, true talk, no lie. Very few people actually care about anything that you have done, anything that you're doing. And you don't want to put out what you're in the process of doing, what you're working towards, because they may try and sabotage that. But things that you have gone through, especially if they're negative, you would have the only people who really would care are people who truly love you or people who want to see you down. All right. So signs you're on the receiving end of trauma dumping. You're feeling drained after conversations. Now remember, I spoke on the 6 types of energy vampires. I end up talking about the drama king, queen, whatever you want to call it, the drama spirit. I end up talking about the sympathy spirit, the ones who are constantly trauma dumping and want others to feel bad for them. So if you're constantly feeling drained after conversations, chances are the individual is trauma dumping on you. If you're talking to somebody and you talk to this person a lot. Let's say you got a friend, a homeboy, homegirl, whatever, whoop de woo, and you know you're cautious walking into this conversation because you realize every time you get done talking to this person, you feel a little shit. I need a drink. I need to go to bed. Man, I need to go take an Epsom salt bath. I need to light an incense, burn some sage, something like that. Heed the warnings. Heed thy warnings. You know what's going on. You're just being ignorant. Matter of fact, you being stupid, not ignorant. You being stupid because you know better and you're not doing better. Now, if you were ignorant to the situation, that's why you come and listen to this right here, Divine Time. Don't mind me. I'm just D Webber, and I'm weaving the webs together. I'm the web weaver. I'll explain that in a later episode. But yes, so also having your boundaries ignored or feeling forced to I can't even say it, to provide comfort and therapy to others. So if you feel that you are constantly the one that's providing therapy or having to comfort others, chances are you're receiving the dump. You're receiving the trauma dump. So, I mean, there's a question. This is a question I like to ask when people start talking to me. I'm like, is this conversation consensual? Like, did I agree to have this conversation? Or is this motherfucker just going on and on? Like, is this really even a conversation? Or is this person the main one talking? All right, bet. This is not a consensual agreement. I did not agree to allow you to sit here and just blah all over me. So, hey, with all due respect, since you didn't care about me, I'm going to have to not care about you either. You're going to have to take that somewhere else. So with all due respect, since you don't respect my boundaries, fuck off. True talk, no lie. Now, going into the third one, boundaries and solutions. Now we're going to talk a little bit of how to protect yourself. Okay? So you need to learn how to set healthy boundaries. You need to learn how to set boundaries. And with those boundaries need to be healthy. And you also need to be able to learn to be graceful and standing 10 toes down on those boundaries. So for example, I care about you, but I'm not in the headspace to talk about this right now. That's a good boundary right there. You're letting the person know, like, hey, I'm not doing this with you right now. Like, I care about you, but the world does not revolve around you. That's pretty much what you're telling them. You know, that's what you're telling the person right there, in a graceful way, to where they don't feel like you're attacking them or you just don't care about them. See, back in the day, I would have said something along the lines of, with all due respect, I can't handle this right now, and it seems like you keep coming to me with the same issue. So if you want to keep making the same if you want to keep doing the same thing and having the same consequences, but you don't want to do anything about it or find any way to heal from it or move past this situation, I've listened to it once before. I've helped you, but you keep doing the same thing. I'm not going to sit here and be your falling grace to where you know that every time that this stuff happens, you have somebody to run to make you feel better. At some point, you need to learn on your own. And that's how I would have. That's how I usually would do it. I mean, if the person feels bad, so be it. But hey, I'm at the point now where I'm like, I realize nobody cares about me because I'm always there for everybody else when nobody's ever really there for me. So it's like, whatever. I got to give myself the love because I have nobody to pour into me. Why is it that I got to sit here and allow everybody to take from me, but nobody ever gives back? So, I mean, if somebody feels that way, then so be it. You have to respect, you have to, honestly, you need to respect your peace as well. Another way that you can set boundaries gracefully, knowing when to refer someone to therapy or other support systems. With that narcissist that I was with, I told her, I said, look, you need to get help. You need to go to therapy. She said she would. It showed that she was not. And I'm sure she probably still has not. I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy for years. For years. Had to go back to therapy after dealing with that narcissistic bastards. But anyway, no, fuck it. Hold up. I got riled up a little bit. I wouldn't say I got riled up, but I got annoyed. I allowed myself to get annoyed. See, you gotta set boundaries. And with me, low key getting annoyed a little bit, I need to. I love that sound. I love that sound so much. But yes, how to avoid trauma dumping: journaling or therapy as first outlets. So with me, I'm journaling. I'm getting back into journaling as heavy as I used to when I was younger. And like I already just stated, I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy for years. Now, none of this is going to do you any good if you're not taking it seriously. If you're just writing a bunch of bullshit down, it's not going to help you. If you're going to therapy and you're not really saying anything, you're kind of just wasting the time or bullshitting, it's not going to help you. You're not going to be doing anything to make your life better, to make you better, to help you grow, to help you heal. You understand? Asking for permission before venting. Me and my mom, we got this thing together. Sometimes I'll call her, sometimes she'll call me. You might have heard me say this on previous episodes before. My mom will sometimes call and be like, I just need a vent. I'm like, all right, go ahead. So then she'll just get it off her chest. And I'll be like, you feel better? She's like, I so do. Thank you. Thank you. I'm like, all right, cool. She's like, you ain't got nothing you want to say? I'm like, you said you wanted to vent. Do you want answers? Are you looking for conflict resolution? Are you looking for ways? Are you looking for advice? There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Are you looking for advice? Because that's gonna cost you. I'm joking, but nah. True talk, no lie. You gotta understand. Like you need to ask people for permission before you start venting. Do you have space for me to share something heavy? Is it okay if I get some things off my chest? Hey, are you grounded? Like, do you mind if I share some things that's heavy on my mind? Like, I just need to get it out. And speaking to someone would really help, you know? So, I mean, asking permission, that's what we talked about earlier. Now, you have to understand how to create a safe emotional space as well. Because a lot of individuals these days have no boundaries. And I mean, I know for a long time they spoke about you want someone with no boundaries type stuff, but we see how evil this world is right now. We need to bring more love and Part of love is having boundaries because you love yourself enough to know what you're not going to tolerate. All right. So, how to create that safe emotional space? Mutually agreeing to have deep conversations. And this is something that I'm learning. Everybody is not at that level to have deep conversations. A lot of people don't want to have deep conversations. So if you sit there and just trying to have a deep conversation with someone who's very shallow, them motherfuckers gonna look at you like you got a dick on your forehead, like, huh? Oh yeah. And then they head, they don't know what the fudge is going on, or they over there singing some candy lollipops. It's a sweet trip to the candy shop, just to tune you out, because they don't want to hear none of that. They don't want to hear none of that at all. So you need to learn how to find your. Some people want to call it soul tribe. People want to say your tribe, your group, your family, whatever you want to call it. Know who you can and cannot talk to. You need to create these safe emotional spaces. You need to practice active listening and empathy with permission. Okay. Now I did an episode. I did an episode in the past. Empathy and empaths. There's a big difference between being an empath and being empathetic. I also did an episode where I got a bunch of empaths on the episode and we talked about it, because there's a lot of people who don't know what an empath is. They just think that because they're empathetic, they're an empath. It's not that easy. It's not that fucking easy, bruh. So practice active listening and empathy. Active listening is providing a little bit of feedback, just letting them know you're listening. So, for example, I do this with my wife all the time. Like, she'll be talking and I'm actively listening. I'll let her know, like, okay, oh, okay, cool. Oh, so saying things like that to let her know that I am still listening. I'm listening to you. I'm paying attention. Sometimes I'll even just say back what she said or throw a little question in there, just so that way she knows, like, okay, he is listening. I mean, she don't do that with me. She kind of just stares, or now she's at the point where she's finding her voice. I love her for it. And she'll just cut me the fuck off. And I kind of just like, I don't even want to keep on talking, because every time with my mouth, you're like, no, 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 no. I'm just like, shit. Active listening and with empathy. Feel what it is that the person's saying. Understand where they're coming from. Or even if you don't understand, try to sympathize with them. You know? Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is healing and growth. The importance of processing, not just repeating. There's a lot of people who just listen to things. They listen to hear, but not listen to comprehend. You need to process this. And one thing that I love to do in my household is we have the floor method. So you'll say something, and I'll say it back to you in my own words of how I comprehended it. So that way, when I'm saying this back, you can tell me yes, as in yes, I am saying I understand what it is you're saying, or no, that's not what I mean. I'll give examples with that if I can ever pull a wife onto another episode with me. She's very, very antisocial. So antisocial that she doesn't even want to be on camera to where people can see her, because then she's still going to feel people watching. And this is even if I record, not even on a live. It's wild. So, I mean, the few lives and episodes she's been on, I got to give her a big props, because I know that was very hard for her. The importance of processing, not just repeating. So trauma needs attention. There's a lot of individuals who are dealing with a lot of trauma, and they either will bring drama into somebody's life, or they will sit here and trauma dump. Now check this out. Trauma needs attention, but repeated venting without intention keeps people stuck. I say that again. Trauma needs attention, but repeated venting without intention keeps people stuck. Keeps you stuck. Keeps you stuck, all right? Growth comes from integration, not repetition. So when you are learning how to integrate yourself into life while still having this trauma and actively healing, making sure that you're not doing the same things over and over and over again, hoping for a different result, insanity, that repetition. That's how you're able to grow and move forward. For example, the things that I have gone through. I can sit here and talk about the shit that have happened to me and my family. I can talk about shit that has happened to me. But why am I going to keep putting myself back into that mindset? Why am I going to allow myself to keep on dealing with that level of cortisol? It doesn't make sense and it doesn't do me any good. All I'm doing is keeping myself stuck. I'm going to be putting myself in a victim mentality, a victim mindset by allowing those things to continue taking over my life. It doesn't work like that, you know? It does not. It does. I am the maker of my life. I am the one who creates my reality. And if I'm going to sit here and dwell on things that have happened in the past, what reality am I creating except for one that brings more trauma and drama and hurt and pain to my life? They say that you are a portion of the friends you keep around you. So if I were to look at the people who were the 5 people who were closest to you, I'd be able to figure out who you are. And if you're constantly surrounded by drama, trauma, hurt, pain, it's only safe to presume that you are the same way. What's up, vibes with Westside? How you doing, King? So I mean, these are things you need to ask yourself. What does my surroundings look like? Who are the people that are around me? Are they helping me elevate to where I want to go, or are they keeping me stuck in repetition? Are they making it to where I'm have no choice but to keep on acting and doing the things that I've always been doing and wondering why my life is getting worse or staying the same? I've had to cut off a lot of people in my life just because of the fact that I started realizing who they are or what I am to them. You have individuals who will only contact you when they're going through something. You have individuals who only contact you if they need something. You have individuals where you're the only one that will reach out to them. You have individuals who only see you as a good time. When you start understanding how people move and what they do, you'll be able to understand what you need to do to get to where you're trying to go. Matter of fact, not trying to go, but to get you to where you see yourself in the future. You need to normalize seeking therapy. In the melanated community, was goody. In the melanated community, there's a lot of individuals who believe that therapy is a bad thing. They talk about therapy like it's so bad. And I mean, I can understand this the stigma, but at the same time, you have to understand that we can work on ourselves, but us melanated people, everything came down to community. Community is the way that they have been able to successfully dismantle the family dynamic when it comes to us. They have made it to where we are so divided and we fight our own more than anybody else. If we were to come back together, come unite community, we'd be able to do so much more in this world. But with it, we first must learn the basics. Everything starts with the basics, even when it comes down to fighting and training. All comes down to the basics. We need to learn how to coach. We need to be okay with having support groups. Like, matter of fact, West Side Jones in the building. Bro, man, he is a teacher. He is a teacher. He strives with that community. He brings community. This is things that we need back in the melanated community. We need more men and women to stand up and teach. We need more men and women to stand up and take that responsibility of looking at other kids and other people. And even though that's not your children, that's your family. You know, we need to start treating one another like that. We need to address emotional hygiene like we do physical hygiene. We talk all the time about, oh, you stink. Go wash your ass. Oh, man, your hair is dirty. Yo, you need to go ahead and get a touch up. You need a haircut. But nobody says, hey, bro, you look down. You need to talk to someone. Hey, come here. You look like you need a hug. Nobody really does that stuff. And it's sad. It's very sad. But anywho, I said I wasn't going to be on here long. I wanted to come and drop this. And we had like 30 minutes right now. Which, since we at the 30-minute mark, let me go ahead and drop this real quick. Looking for truth, transformation, and a little divine inspiration? Then you're exactly where you need to be. Welcome to Divine Time, the podcast where real talk meets real growth. I'm your host, Danli Divine, bringing you raw conversations, spiritual insight, and soul shifting stories that light you up from the inside out. New episodes drop 4 times as strong. We don't say week over here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you never have to wait long for your next breakthrough. If you're feeling the vibe, follow the show, like the content, share the energy, and subscribe so you never miss a divine moment. Tap the link, join the tribe, and help us spread the light, one episode at a time. This is your time. This is Divine Time. So, as I was saying, I want to go ahead and hit my closing real quick. We all want to be heard, but let's make sure we're all listening. And when we're listening, we are listening to comprehend, not just listening to hear what the person is saying. You need to understand what someone is saying to fully start to work on your empathy. You need to learn how to feel again. There's so many people who are detached from life. They struggle to feel. One thing about being human is we're blessed with this soul, this spirit that is within us, allowing us to connect with others. And when you are detaching yourself from things, you are detaching yourself from one of the gifts that was given to us as a human. And it's something that we're supposed to be being. Human being. I want to encourage self awareness and emotional responsibility as well as healing. Because, in all honesty, there's a lot of individuals who are not aware of the things that they're doing. They're not aware that they are trauma dumping on others, leaving other people feeling drained or feeling a type of way after work, during work, sometimes shit, right when they wake up in the morning. Emotional responsibility. It would, what Smokey the Bear say? Only you can regulate your emotions. It's not up to somebody else to keep your emotions in check. We need to make sure that we are able to be mindful enough to take a step back, recognize if we are trauma dumping. We need to be able to take a step back, recognize the signs on if we are getting dumped on. And with that, it would take both parties to heal, for us to speak about healing. And it would take you to follow through with the healing. So, in all honesty, I invite everybody who watched this all the way through to this part. I want y'all to journal. And when you journal, go ahead and share all your pain that you received from others into that journal. Do a journal, do like a journal page. Yeah, do a whole page. Like, I'm giving y'all homework now. Do a whole page and just think of all the times that you've been trauma dumped on, or the times that you have trauma dumped. And then I want you to think of the times that when you dumped on other people, what were you dumping? And see if that's something that you still need to work on, because most likely it's going to be things that were the most recent. All right. I have a question for y'all, and I want y'all to leave an answer down below. Most likely nobody's going to leave an answer below, but so fucking be it. I'm going to leave an answer for my damn self, since none of y'all like to fucking listen at all. Have you ever felt like someone trauma dumped on you? Or have you done it without realizing? That's a simple close-ended question. That's a yes or no question. Have you ever felt like someone trauma dumped on you? Or have you done it without realizing? But yeah, go ahead, run up those comments, hit that share, also hit that subscribe. Much love and appreciate it. This was another episode of Divine Time. You know what? I'm on the road to 1,000. I'm on the road to 1,000. Help me reach 1,000 followers, because I got some plans in motion. And with it, I understand that who I am, I will be hated by most.